I never thought I'd be in this situation, but here I am. My name is Olivia, 28F, and I've been married to Tyler, 30M, for 5 years. We met during our sophomore year of college when we were paired up for a group project in our economics class. I remember being struck by his easy smile and quick wit. We spent long nights in the library, working on our project and getting to know each other. By the time we turned in our final presentation, I was head over heels. Our relationship wasn't always smooth sailing. We had our fair share of arguments and misunderstandings, especially during our senior year when the stress of job hunting and graduation loomed over us. But we always managed to work through our issues, coming out stronger on the other side. When we both landed jobs in the same city after graduation, it felt like fate. We moved in together, and 2 years later, Tyler proposed during a weekend trip to the beach where we had our first vacation together. The first few years of our marriage were blissful. We were young, in love, and building our life together. We had date nights every Friday, took cooking classes together, and even started a small vegetable garden on our apartment balcony. Tyler was always thoughtful, surprising me with little gifts or planning weekend getaways. I thought we had it all figured out. About a year ago, my younger sister Amy, 24F, moved in with us. Amy and I have always been close, despite our 4-year age gap. Growing up, I was her protector, the one she came to with scraped knees or broken hearts. When our parents divorced during Amy's senior year of high school, I became even more of a parental figure to her, helping her navigate college applications and move into her dorm. Amy had just graduated with a degree in graphic design but was struggling to find a job in her field. She was working part-time at a coffee shop, barely making enough to cover her student loan payments. When I saw how stressed and defeated she looked during our weekly video calls, I couldn't bear it. Without much thought, I offered her our spare room until she got back on her feet. Tyler wasn't thrilled about the idea. He valued our privacy and was concerned about how having Amy around might affect our relationship. But after seeing how important it was to me, he agreed. I was so grateful for his understanding, and I promised it would only be temporary. At first, everything seemed fine. Amy was a model house guest, helping with chores and even cooking dinner for us a few times a week. She was actively job hunting and would excitedly share any promising leads with us over dinner. I was proud of how hard she was working and felt good about being able to help her during this tough time. Tyler and Amy seemed to get along well too. They discovered a shared love for obscure indie bands and would often spend evenings listening to records and discussing music. They even started going to yoga classes together a few times a week. I was happy to see my husband and sister bonding, thinking how lucky I was to have two of the most important people in my life getting along so well. But as months passed, I started noticing subtle changes in Tyler's behavior. He began coming home late from work, sometimes smelling faintly of alcohol. When I asked him about it, he'd brush it off, saying he was just having a few drinks with colleagues to unwind. I tried not to think much of it, focusing instead on my own career and helping Amy with her job search. I had my own stresses to deal with at work. I'd recently taken on a big project that required long hours and lots of travel. There were weeks when Tyler and I barely saw each other, just passing like ships in the night. I felt guilty about neglecting our relationship, but I thought we were strong enough to weather this temporary rough patch. Last week was our 5th wedding anniversary. Tyler had been acting strange for days leading up to it, but I assumed he was planning a surprise. On the day of our anniversary, I managed to leave work early, excited to spend the evening with my husband. As I walked into our apartment, I heard muffled voices coming from our bedroom. My heart racing, I quietly made my way to the door. What I heard next shattered my world. It was Tyler and Amy, talking in hushed tones. Amy was saying, "We can't keep doing this, Tyler. It's wrong. She's my sister, your wife." Tyler replied, "I know, but I can't help how I feel about you. We'll figure something out." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My husband and my sister? How long had this been going on? I felt sick to my stomach, memories of the past few months flashing through my mind. All those late nights at work, the yoga sessions, the hushed conversations that stopped when I entered the room, it all made a horrifying kind of sense now. Without thinking, I burst into the room. The looks on their faces confirmed my worst fears. Tyler jumped up, stammering, "Olivia, it's not what you think." Amy just sat there, her face pale with shock. I noticed her shirt was unbuttoned, Tyler's hair was messed up. The evidence was undeniable. I don't remember much of what happened next. There was a lot of shouting, crying, and accusations. I demanded answers, but their explanations were just excuses. They claimed it had only been going on for a few months, that they never meant for it to happen. But how could I believe anything they said? I left the apartment that night, grabbing whatever clothes I could stuff into a bag. I called my best friend, Emma, sobbing so hard she could barely understand me. She immediately told me to come over, no questions asked. I've been staying with her for a week now, trying to process everything. Tyler has been calling and texting nonstop, begging for forgiveness. His messages swing wildly between apologizing profusely and blaming me for being distant lately. Amy sent me a long email, explaining how sorry she was and how she'd move out immediately. She said she never meant to hurt me, that it just happened. But I don't know if I can ever forgive either of them. I feel so betrayed, not just by Tyler, but by Amy too. She was my little sister, the person I'd always protected and looked out for. I remembered all the times I'd defended her to our parents, how I'd helped her move into her college dorm, how I'd stayed up late helping her with her resume. And this is how she repaid me? And Tyler, the man I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with, how could he do this to me? I thought back to our wedding day, how he teared up as he recited his vows, promising to love and cherish me forever. Was it all a lie? How long had he been attracted to Amy? Was I just a placeholder until something better came along? I'm lost and don't know what to do. Part of me wants to try and salvage my marriage, thinking maybe we could work through this. We've been through tough times before, though nothing like this. But another part of me knows I'll never be able to trust Tyler again. How could I ever look at him without wondering if he's thinking about my sister? And as for Amy, I can't even bear to think about her right now. The betrayal feels even deeper coming from her. She was family, the person I trusted most in the world after Tyler. Now I feel like I've lost them both. I've always been the strong one in my family, the one everyone else relied on. When our parents divorced, I was the one who held it together, comforting Amy and mediating between our parents. But now, I feel weak and vulnerable. I'm scared of what the future holds. Will I ever be able to trust anyone again? How do I move forward from this? I know I need to make a decision soon. Do I try to work things out with Tyler? Do I file for divorce? And what about Amy? Can I ever have a relationship with my sister again after this betrayal? The thought of family gatherings in the future makes me feel sick. How can I face our parents and explain what happened? My friends have been supportive, offering advice and shoulders to cry on. But they're all as shocked as I am, unsure of how to help. Emma has suggested I see a therapist, but the thought of rehashing this story to a stranger feels overwhelming right now. Work has been a welcome distraction, but I know I can't hide there forever. My boss has noticed something's wrong and has been understanding, but I know I'll have to face reality soon. Any advice would be appreciated. I feel so alone right now and could use some outside perspective. Has anyone else been through something similar? How did you cope? How did you move forward? Thank you for reading this long post. Writing it all out has been cathartic in a way, but it's also made everything feel so much more real. I guess I'm just looking for some support and guidance as I navigate this nightmare. Update 1, it's been 3 months since my last post, and I wanted to give an update on my situation. First, I want to thank everyone who commented and sent messages of support. Your words meant more to me than you could know during that dark time. After much soul-searching and several painful conversations with both Tyler and Amy, I've made some decisions. I filed for divorce from Tyler. As much as it hurts, I know I could never trust him again, and without trust, there's no foundation for a marriage. The betrayal was too deep, the wound too raw to heal. The decision wasn't easy. Tyler and I had one last long talk at a neutral location, a park where we used to have picnics in the early days of our relationship. He cried, begged for another chance, swore he'd do anything to make it right. For a moment, looking at him in the same spot where he'd once proposed, I almost wavered. But then I remembered the look on his face when I caught him with Amy, and I knew there was no going back. The divorce proceedings have been difficult. Tyler initially tried to contest it, claiming he made a mistake and wanted to work things out. He even suggested couples therapy, but I couldn't imagine sitting in a room with him and a therapist, rehashing the betrayal over and over. I told him that his actions had consequences, and this was one of them. Eventually, he agreed to an uncontested divorce, which should be finalized in a few months. As for Amy, our relationship is complicated. I've had several long, painful conversations with her. The first one was over the phone, about a month after everything happened. I was still so angry, I could barely speak without shouting. She listened, cried, apologized over and over. She told me things I didn't want to hear, how it started, how long it had been going on. It was like reopening the wound all over again. Amy's moved out of the city, taking a job offer in another state. She says she needs time to work on herself and figure out who she is. Part of me is relieved she's gone, but another part misses my little sister. I keep thinking back to when we were kids, how she used to follow me around like a puppy, how I taught her to apply makeup, How I helped her get ready for her first date. It's hard to reconcile those memories with what she's done. The hardest part of all this has been telling our family. Our parents were devastated. Mom cried for hours when I told her, asking over and over how this could have happened. Dad got angry, threatening to disown Amy. It's caused a rift in the family, with some taking sides. Aunt Sarah insists I should try to forgive Tyler, while Uncle Mike thinks I should press charges for adultery. It's painful to see, but I know it's not my responsibility to fix it. I've moved out of the apartment Tyler and I shared. Too many memories there. I found a small studio across town and have been slowly making it my own. It's strange living alone after all these years, but also liberating in a way. I'm rediscovering who I am outside of being a wife and a sister. I've started painting again, something I gave up when work got busy. My little studio is slowly filling up with canvases, abstract pieces full of dark, swirling colors. It's not great art, but it helps me process my emotions. Work has been my saving grace through all of this. I've thrown myself into my job, taking on extra projects and responsibilities. My boss has been understanding, giving me flexibility when I need it for lawyer appointments or therapy sessions. I've even been considered for a promotion, which is both exciting and terrifying. Part of me wonders if I'm ready for more responsibility when my personal life is such a mess. Yes, I've started therapy. It was hard at first, admitting I needed help, but it's been incredibly beneficial. My therapist has been helping me work through my feelings of betrayal and anger, and helping me build my self-esteem back up. We've been exploring why I always felt the need to be the strong one in my family, and how that might have affected my relationships. I've also started reconnecting with old friends, people I had drifted away from during my marriage. Their support has been invaluable. We've had movie nights, gone for hikes, and just spent time talking. It's reminded me that there are still good people in the world, people I can trust. Last weekend, my college roommate Sarah visited. We stayed up all night, drinking wine and reminiscing about simpler times. It felt good to laugh again. There are still hard days. Days when I wake up and for a split second forget everything that's happened. Days when I see a happy couple on the street and feel a pang of what I've lost. Days when a song comes on the radio that Tyler and I used to dance to, and I have to pull over because I'm crying too hard to drive. But those days are becoming fewer and farther between. I'm not ready to think about dating again. The thought of trusting someone enough to be in a relationship seems impossible right now. A guy at work asked me out for coffee last week, and I nearly had a panic attack. My therapist says that's normal, that I need time to heal before I can open myself up again. For now, I'm focusing on my friendships and rebuilding my relationship with myself. As for the future, I'm trying to take it one day at a time. I'm learning to be okay with not having all the answers. I'm learning that it's okay to be angry, to be sad, to be confused. I'm learning that healing isn't linear, and that's okay too. For now, I'm focusing on healing, on rebuilding my life on my own terms. It's not the life I had planned, but I'm determined to make it a good one. Thank you again for all your support. It means more than you know. Update 2. It's been a year since my world turned upside down, and I wanted to share another update. So much has changed, and yet in some ways, I feel like I'm still processing everything that happened. The divorce was finalized 6 months ago. It was a strange feeling, signing those papers. Part of me felt relieved, like I was finally closing a painful chapter of my life. Another part felt sad, mourning the future I thought I'd have. But mostly, I felt free. The day after the divorce was final, I went skydiving. It was terrifying and exhilarating, and as I floated back to Earth, I felt like I could breathe again for the first time in months. Tyler moved out of state shortly after the divorce was final. Last I heard, he was living with his parents and trying to find himself. I wish I could say I don't care, but sometimes I still find myself wondering about him. Not because I want him back, that ship has long sailed, but because I'm trying to understand how someone I thought I knew so well could betray me so deeply. My therapist says this is normal, that closure doesn't always come in the form we expect. As for Amy, our relationship is still strained. We've had a few phone calls, mostly on holidays or birthdays. It's awkward and painful, but we're trying. She's still in therapy, working through her own issues. She's apologized countless times, but I'm not sure I'm ready to forgive her yet. Maybe someday, but not now. Last month, she sent me a letter. In it, she explained more about what was going on in her life when everything happened. She talked about feeling lost after college, about struggling with depression and alcohol abuse. It doesn't excuse what she did, but it helps me understand a little better. On a brighter note, my career has taken off. All that extra work I threw myself into paid off. I got a big promotion 3 months ago. I'm now leading my own team on a major project. It's challenging and sometimes stressful, but I love it. It's given me a sense of purpose and accomplishment that I really needed. Last week, I gave a presentation to the company's board of directors. As I stood there, confidently explaining our strategy, I realized how far I've come from the broken person I was a year ago. I've also started dating again, which has been interesting. My first few attempts were disasters. There was the guy who spent the entire date talking about his ex, the one who asked if I was damaged goods because of my divorce, and the one who I'm pretty sure was just looking for a free meal. I was so scared of being hurt again that I kept everyone at arm's length. But after some more therapy and a lot of self-reflection, I've started to open up more. There's one guy, Alex, 32M, who I've been seeing for about 2 months now. We met at a local art gallery opening. He's an architect with a passion for abstract expressionism. He's kind, funny, and patient. He knows about my past and understands when I need to take things slow. It's too early to say where it's going, but for the first time in a long time, I'm excited about the possibility of a future with someone. Last weekend, he surprised me with a picnic in the park. As we sat there, laughing and talking, I realized I hadn't thought about Tyler or Amy all day. It felt like progress. I've made some new friends too. I joined a local book club and a hiking group. It's been great to meet people who don't know me as the girl whose husband cheated with her sister. They just know me as Olivia, and that's refreshing. Last month, we did a challenging 10-mile hike. As I stood at the summit, looking out over the valley, I felt a sense of accomplishment and peace that I hadn't experienced in a long time. My relationship with my parents has improved. They've been supportive throughout this whole ordeal, and we've grown closer because of it. Mom and I have weekly video calls now, where we cook the same recipe together. It's become a ritual I look forward to. Dad has been making an effort to be more emotionally available. He even attended a therapy session with me to work on our communication. They're coming to visit next month, and I'm looking forward to showing them around my new city. There are still tough days. Anniversaries are hard, my wedding anniversary, the day I found out about the affair. But I'm learning to cope with those feelings instead of letting them overwhelm me. On my would-have-been 6th wedding anniversary, instead of wallowing, I volunteered at a local animal shelter. Spending the day cuddling puppies and kittens was far better than any pity party I could have thrown myself. I'm not the same person I was a year ago. I'm stronger now, more independent. I've learned that I can survive things I never thought I could. And while I wouldn't wish this experience on anyone, I can acknowledge that it shaped me into someone I'm proud to be. I'm more compassionate, more self-aware, and more appreciative of the good things in my life. Thank you all for your continued support. Your kind words and advice have been a lifeline during this difficult year. Here's to hoping the next year brings even more healing and happiness. Update 3. It's been 2 years since my original post, and I felt it was time for one last update. Life has a funny way of surprising you, and these past few months have certainly been full of surprises. First, the big news: Alex and I got engaged last month. It wasn't a grand, elaborate proposal, just a quiet moment at home, which was perfect for us. We were making dinner together, something we do often, and in the middle of chopping vegetables, he just turned to me and asked. It was simple, honest, and completely us. We're planning a small wedding for next spring. The thought of getting married again is both exciting and a little scary, but I know Alex is nothing like Tyler. We've built our relationship on honesty, trust, and open communication. Work continues to go well. I've settled into my new role and even mentored a few junior employees. It's fulfilling to be able to help others grow in their careers. Last quarter, my team's project exceeded all expectations, and we received special recognition from the CEO. It felt good to be acknowledged for my hard work, especially after everything I've been through. As for my family situation, there have been some developments. Amy reached out to me about 6 months ago, asking if we could meet in person. After much deliberation, I agreed. We met at a neutral location, a coffee shop in a city halfway between where we both live. It was an emotional meeting. Amy has been sober for a year now, which I didn't even know she struggled with. She explained that her alcohol abuse had been a factor in her poor decisions, though she was quick to say it wasn't an excuse. She's been working hard in therapy and making amends to those she's hurt. We talked for hours, crying and laughing and remembering. It wasn't easy, but it felt like the first step towards healing our relationship. We're not back to where we were before, I don't think we ever will be, but we're building something new. We text regularly now and are planning to spend the holidays together with our parents. It's still awkward at times, and there are moments when the pain of betrayal resurfaces, but we're both committed to rebuilding our sisterly bond. Speaking of parents, they've been my rocks through all of this. They're thrilled about my engagement to Alex and have welcomed him into the family with open arms. It's heartwarming to see them happy again after all the pain our family has been through. Mom has already started planning the wedding, and Dad has been giving Alex tips on how to handle the strong-willed women in our family. I haven't heard from Tyler in over a year, and honestly, I'm okay with that. Whatever happens in his life now is his business. I've let go of the anger I held towards him. It doesn't serve me anymore. Sometimes I still think about him, wondering if he's found peace or if he regrets his actions. But those thoughts no longer consume me. As I look back on the past 2 years, I'm amazed at how far I've come. There were days when I thought I'd never smile again, never trust again, never love again. But here I am, engaged to a wonderful man, successful in my career, and rebuilding relationships I thought were lost forever. My journey of healing continues. I still see my therapist, though less frequently now. I've learned to be kinder to myself, to set boundaries, and to prioritize my own well-being. I've also started volunteering at a support group for people going through divorces. It feels good to be able to help others who are where I was 2 years ago. To anyone out there going through something similar, please know that it does get better. It's not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight, but with time, support, and a lot of self-work, you can come out the other side stronger than ever. You are more resilient than you know. Thank you all for being part of my journey. Your support, advice, and kind words have meant the world to me. This will be my last update. It's time to close this chapter and focus on the bright future ahead. Wishing you all the best.